We try to take on policies that prop up the factory farm system, like we've been hearing about all day. Industrial agriculture, when you're talking about raising animals, is different. It is different than what family farms do in every regard. And it is a system. It's not an accident. It's not because it's the best way to do it. It's the most efficient. It makes any sense. It is a system that is propped up by years and years and years of choices in farm bills and funding bills and decisions to enforce a law or not enforce a law. So we have to start chipping away at all of those policies to build back a different system that works better for all of us. Corporate entities who are doing just fine in this system because they built it. And they built it to work for them. Economic power is political power, and we just have to be honest about that. So when we talk about the Farm Bill or this policy or that policy, we have to talk about the reason it looks like that is not bad luck, not an accident. It's not because they didn't know. It's because the most powerful voices in that room got the policy they needed. And for a long time, those voices, the most powerful voices in the room haven't been us. Y'all are innovators. And you shouldn't be stuck in a niche of the market. You should be able to get to a much broader market of consumers who want what you do. But because those steps in the middle are so tightly controlled by companies that have a lot of power, they block you from getting what you need from a marketplace.
I worked off the farm with really a passive interest in the farm during most of our marriage. But that all changed dramatically. Our community was threatened by Iowa Select, Iowa's ag giant. And we got involved in the fight. I didn't want to have to go to bed every night and close my window because it was going to stink, and all of the other bad things that go along with it. But we learned very quickly who had the power, who had the regulations, and who had the law on their side. And we would never have succeeded without the help of Iowa CCI and SRAP. And I thank you so much, because I can still open my window at night.
So I texted my dad this morning, who's a small dairy farmer in Western New York. He said the biggest struggle he has is that milk prices only go to the middlemen. And I think that's a familiar story for many of you in the room. And that's a big thing to him that's been long known to state family farming. The USDA has known about this problem for a long time, and it remains intractable. Farmers like him don't want to be climate problems. They're just exhausted, and they have so few resources, which often go to large operators. At the same time that agricultural operations are getting fewer, they're also getting whiter. In Indiana, according to USDA, there are just 134 farmers who identify as Black, compared to 93,700 that identify as white. That's a 700 to 1 ratio. 93% of U.S. ag land is owned by white operators. The Farm Bill can and must address this inequality in every possible way. USDA should specifically set out to use the tremendous potential of carbon markets to directly benefit minority farmers through its own programs or partnership with one of many national credit issuers. Only some agricultural operations have their voices heard. If the USDA does not speak for all of us, Indiana is unlikely to stand up for environmental and public health in ag, and I'm tired of being told we can't do both. Provide great food for all and defend our environment and future. Our most critical dual missions to build a livable future and feed America should be recursively reflected in each other, because the alternative is unimaginable.
If we really want to see reversing discrimination, the historic discrimination that's going on, there has to be some real investment in that, real investment. So the story I want to tell is I worked on the Pigford 2, Hispanic and women claims, and now I'm working on the 22007, which is also a discriminations process. And in each one of those, the same thing has come up. And it's really brought to me as a person working with farmers, really brought it to a real human level. And we can't forget, I mean, these are not just policies, these are not just things, laws, whatever, what's behind that. And in each one of those, I've seen and experienced and shared with the person telling me their story, that pain, right? And this is not an emotional appeal. This is a reality check about what happens when our laws, when our policies are not equitable and lack justice, right? They make people invisible, they break people's lives, and in each one of those cases, I've had people tell me and then break down into tears. The process of making people invisible happens through laws. So these are the things that the Farm Bill cannot do, cannot be complicit in making people invisible so that then you can eradicate them.
I think together we all know about how our current food and farm policies are failing us all. Here are a few highlights that we demand we make of the Farm Bill. We envision a Farm Bill that establishes, promotes, and supports policies to create an equitable food and agricultural system free from corporate influence and continued systemic injustice. A Farm Bill that supports infrastructure that centers community-based food systems over putting more money and power into the hands of corporate elite. A Farm Bill that fosters diversity, and we're talking about all manner of diversity. A Farm Bill that celebrates differences and uplifts Black and Indigenous and people of color foodways, and doesn't continue to separate us. A Farm Bill that aims to be part of the solution, building pathways of land access for those disenfranchised by historical U.S. policies of land taking and enslaved labor. A Farm Bill that protects natural resources and isn't creating false climate solutions.
It really is a beautiful mosaic, just looking out on everyone and just knowing that we all come together with a commonality of purpose. How do we make a Farm Bill more responsive to farmers' needs, first and foremost, the communities that they live in, and health for the planet? We must come together and work purposefully on the Farm Bill. The fact that our opposition at times seems greater than us, right? We had an instance where an act of Congress made it so that debt relief from the emergency relief program for BIPOC farmers would have recognized the fact that 90-something% of the resources during the COVID period went to large white farmers. And in fairness, Congress, Department of Agriculture wanted to rebalance that. But the forces of opposition, they were so quick in their organizing with lawyers of their persuasion and the courts that it got squashed. So now we have this renewed opportunity under the Inflation Reduction Act. I have 1 minute, but the 1 minute is a very pregnant minute, right? Because in the space, we are all pregnant with knowledge and ability. So let's give birth to a farm process that is inclusive, that holds our pain, but at the same time is a collective release for rebirth. We must all come together to make sure climate justice is embedded and is actively moving in the Farm Bill for all of us and the rest of the world. Let's do it.